Howdy, y'all. Welcome to Philbilly Games. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. We have some great content to cover when it comes to building your own online TCG player business. But before we get into that, just a few quick reminders. Please hit that subscribe button below. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, that helps me greatly. I'm trying to grow my reach, so that will bless me and Philbilly Games. Also, hit that like button below, and a comment would be great. So I would love for your interaction. I'll kind of monitor those and respond if you comment, but I appreciate your support along the way. A couple other quick reminders. One is I have a Discord I would love for you to follow if you are a lover of Magic the Gathering or really trading cards in general. You can come join my Discord. You'll find the announcement channel in there. That's the key. Look at that announcement channel. I offer sealed products to my Discord followers at pretty good pricing. All right. Right now, I have a pre-order window open for Magic the Gathering Marvel Heroes, Superheroes, Marvel Superheroes. I think that's what it's called now. I'm blanking, of course. But there's a pre-order window. I can get you some product at pretty good price there too. That window does close very quickly, so make sure you check that out. I also have other sealed product, including I have Bloom Burrow Play Boosters available right now. I have My Little Pony Secret Layers coming. I have the Mystery Booster Box 2 coming. I have lots of different things out there, and I keep that up to date pretty regularly. So continue to check that. Join my Discord. Say hi. And also, another reminder, you'll find the description for the link, sorry, to my TCG Player Pro site. My TCG Player Pro site is separate from finding me on just the normal TCG Player Marketplace. And the Pro site has all of my single cards out there. And you'll be able to find them at or near market price. And I would love for you to shop through a trusted seller, someone that you know, someone that you follow, and that you know will get you quality product. All right. Also, last thing I want to mention is I do purchase collections. So if you are looking to get rid of some cards, specifically Magic the Gathering, I'd love to have a conversation with you to see if I could take those off your hand for a pretty good percentage. So feel free to shoot me an email. You can reach me at philbillygames@gmail.com. And that's PHIL, well, you'll see in the channel, BILLY at gmail.com. All right. So, starting your own TCG player business. When we think about this, I really think there's 5 questions that you should ask yourself before you start your own business. These are not questions necessarily that I asked myself. These are just lessons I learned along the way. And by all means, even if you don't check off every box here that we're going to go through, you could still be successful and enjoy it. But I really think there's 5 things that you need to ask before you get started. So let's get rolling. All right. Number 1, your first question that you need to ask yourself is, do you have the time? There's a lot of things involved with running an online trading card business that you may not think about. You have to ship cards. There's packing envelopes and shipping shields, or there's printing invoices. There's all finding the cards, pulling them, all of that, right? There's tracking finances. If you want to be successful, you need to be able to track your finances, your expenditures, your profits. You need to purchase supplies. Make sure you have proper quantity of things, especially before set releases. So buying supplies, making sure you're keeping track of all that. There's securing product. So taking time to track down product, whether it's a collection, whether it's finding discounted product that you can take and rip and flip, right? You have to sort. You have to take that and code it, sort it in a way that you can find cards easily. There's the listing process, getting it all uploaded to TCG Player or whatever platform you decide to use. There's navigating issues, so dealing with customer refunds or problems or envelopes that show back up that didn't make it to the end customer. You have to educate yourself and be researching and learning about how to grow the business, how to make changes so that you can be as successful as possible. There's marketing once you get big enough, putting yourself out there. This YouTube is marketing, right? I'm marketing myself and Philbilly Games to try to grow the business. And the last thing I'll mention with time is trips to the office. Sorry, not the office. Maybe you have an office. The post office, right? I have to make trips to the post office almost every single day to drop off packages and get stamps and get things there, shipping supplies at the post office as well. And so that all takes a lot of time. So when you think about, do you have the time? One thing that you want to consider with that is, are you sacrificing from important places in your life? Do you have a family that you're taking important time away from? Do you lose sleep because you're trying to run this business? Do you have another primary job that takes precedence and really brings in a true income over what you're trying to do here? Just be careful is all I want to suggest with that. It's going to take time. It's going to take potentially a lot of time if you want it to be a successful business, and that time's going to have to come from somewhere in your life. So just make sure that you're not sacrificing things that truly matter just to get your TCG Player business off the ground. All right, question number 2. Do you have the passion? Do you have the passion? Is this something that you're excited about? Are you just wanting to make a little extra side money? If it's just about making a little extra side money and there's not a passion behind it, this probably isn't the side hustle for you. Do you have a passion for a game, Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh or One Piece or Lorcana, right? If you don't have that passion, it's going to be hard to keep going and to have the grit, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But does the thought of maybe starting your own startup business sound exciting to you, even if you're not making a profit at the beginning? Is it exciting? Do you have that passion to start something new and to see it succeed and have the passion behind it to continue to follow through with that? And will your passion get in the way of the business? That's the opposite side. Sometimes you can be so passionate, and I found myself in this spot where I love Magic the Gathering, and sometimes I get cards in that I just love. Like just the other day, I opened a Force of Will in Secrets of Strixhaven, and it was foil and gorgeous, and I would love to just add that to my own collection. But I have to draw the line, and either I buy it from myself, from the business, or I just let it go. And it can be really hard if you have a passion for a game to not let it get in the way of the business itself. You can end up taking cards from your own business and adding it to your collection and losing money along the way because you just can't let a card go. So it's really important to, one, have the passion, but be careful with how much passion you have, and can you separate that passion of the game from the passion of seeing the business succeed? All right, question number 3 of what I think you need to ask yourself before you start a TCG Player business. Question 3, do you have the knowledge or the willingness to learn? Do you know a particular game well? I've been in Magic the Gathering for 30 plus years, and I know the game pretty darn well. If I didn't know the game well, it would be really hard for me to make some of the decisions that I make, to make sure that I'm correctly pricing, to make sure that I understand the trends of certain types of cards, the playability of cards, what's going to be a hit set and what's probably going to be a dud. Things like that all really come, well, some of it from research, but some of it from just knowing the game. So do you know a game well? I'm starting to expand a little bit into other realms. I'm doing a little bit of Lorcana. I'm doing a little bit of League of Legends, Riftbound, and well, that's coming. That's also one of the products you can find in my store as upcoming on my Discord announcement page. But side trail. It's important that you understand the product, and you can expand once you start to gain knowledge, but either you need to know it or you need to be able to research it and understand it. All right, so either have the margin to understand that or you already do. So do you enjoy researching and finding time to learn new ways to accomplish a task? You have to constantly learn and educate yourself when you're starting a business. And if you don't have the desire to constantly learn and better your business, better yourself, it's going to be a really tough journey. So it's important that you're learning and that you have the margin, going back to our first point, to actually make that learning happen. If you hate researching, bad news, you'll be doing a lot of it. I do a ton of researching through other Discords that I'm a part of sellers. I do research just in Google searches. I talk to other people that I know, whether it's through YouTube, influencers, or other people that own card stores, just asking questions and trying to gain a knowledge of how other people do what they do and find success. So, do you have the knowledge, or are you willing to learn what you don't already know? Our fourth question, number 4, do you have the finance? All right, do you have the capital to start? Now, you don't have to have thousands of dollars to get your business off the ground, but you do have to have some money. There has to be a little bit of a nest egg there to get things going. All right, not only do you need product, which you will need, all right, whether you're buying some boxes to be able to flip, or whether you're buying a collection, or maybe you even start with your own cards. Maybe you have some of your own. That's great. That'll save you some money to start things off if you have some of your own collection. But you will need product. But there's a lot more than just that, right? In a future video, I'll show you what I use and my shipping processes and all of that. But I use a label printer. I had to buy that. There's paper, there's envelopes, there's stamps, I use shipping shields, there's tape, there's all kinds of little things that you really wouldn't think about until you start to figure out what you're actually going to need logistically to get everything shipped and in the mail and all of that. And so you're going to need to have finance to cover all of that. And that's important, right? And I will say too, if you're looking for product to get started, I'm a good source for that too. I offer product. Again, if you go back to that Discord, I offer product at a pretty good price, a lot of times cheaper than you'll find in a store. And so that's a great area. Reach out to me, see if you can purchase some product to get yourself going. Also, don't start by using a credit card unless you're going to pay it off immediately. All right. By putting things on a credit card, I know you can get points and cash back, and that can be a great strategy if you're good with managing that. But don't just start with the credit card, because if you hold that balance on there, not only are you paying for shipping, you're paying for TCG player fees, you're paying for product, you're paying for supplies, but you're also now paying interest on the credit card. You're going to come up with a net loss if you continue to hold a balance in there. So be careful if you're using a credit card to start. And I will suggest start small. Like if you're worried about finance, just start with a box or two, or a very small collection, or a few of your own cards. We'll talk more about how to start off in a TCG player seller 1 level in a future video though. All right? Are you willing to take your investment and keep reinvesting the profits for a while? So when we think of finance, are you willing to say, I'm not going to pay myself for a period of time, because anything I make is going to have to go back into the business for a while until you feel like you're at a point where you have enough liquid income and turnover of supply that you're able to fund things without having to constantly refund everything. All right, not refund, but put the funds back in to your capital. All right, eventually you can pay yourself, but that might take a while. Are you okay with that? Finally, can you restrain yourself from overspending and buying all the things? I've struggled with this. I still struggle with this. But do you have the ability? I mean, Magic especially pumps out product constantly. Do you have the ability to restrain yourself and not buy everything? Or if you do buy everything, do you have the ability to not buy lots of everything, all the cases? It can be really tough. And being a good judge of how you're spending that finance, whether the set's going to be popular or not, and that goes back to educating yourself and learning what's going to be a hit and what's not. There's lots of ways that you can kind of research to figure out what's going to really fly off the shelves and what's not. Again, we'll talk about these things in future videos, but for now, just know that you need to be asking yourself if you have the ability to restrain yourself from buying all the things, or the quantity of all the things. All right, last question, number 5. You need to ask yourself, do you have the grit? All right. My wife and I were talking about this earlier, and she said that this really specifically, the grit and the passion goes very hand in hand. And I would agree, right? If you're passionate about something, usually you're going to be able to have the grit in a much more efficient way, or it's going to come to you more naturally, right? And so when you think about grit, can you handle taking a loss? Are you going to give up and throw in the white flag if you take a loss? You will take a loss at times. I way overspent on Spider-Man and it was a dud. And I still suffer from that. I'm still kind of digging myself out of that. That really set me back. I could have given up then. and I'm okay with taking the loss because I know that I can be successful, and there's going to be bomb sets, there's going to be hits, right? And so it's important to know and ask yourself, can you handle taking a loss? Another thing along with that too is, can you handle errors or setbacks? So for example, my shipping processes have changed dramatically over the last couple of years. And for a while, I was getting a ton of envelopes back, and it was just really messing up my shipping processes and my costs and things like that. And I had to, well, at one point I threw up the flag and I said, I can't do this. I'm frustrated. I don't want to handle all of these errors and issues. I just don't have the time for this. But going back to education, I had to learn how to do it properly. And once I did, I still get envelopes back occasionally, but very rarely. And it took some grit and some calming myself down and coming back to the table and saying, okay, what can I do to solve this issue? Also, can you pick yourself up and not I've talked about this one, but can you pick yourself up and not get discouraged after making a mistake? If you make a mistake, you overinvest in something, you ship things improperly, you sort your cards incorrectly, you pull the wrong card and ship it to the wrong person. So many things could happen. Can you recover from mistakes, or is one mistake going to just wreck you? So know that you will make mistakes. We all do. But can you overcome those mistakes? Are you okay with not making profit for over a year? I know we kind of mentioned this too, but are you okay with that profit not happening for a while? If you're looking to make quick money, this probably isn't your jam. Unless it's your own collection, you could probably make some decent money if you're selling your own cards. But if you're investing and starting a business from scratch, there's a good chance that it'll take a while if you want to grow the business before you can actually make a profit. So just know that that could be the case. So ask yourself, are you okay with that? And the last point I want to make is, you may enjoy the cards, but what about other repetitive tasks? Are you okay with repetition? After this video, I'm going to start to ship out some cards. And sometimes I have 10 orders, sometimes I have 30 orders. And it's repetitive, and sometimes it's a little boring, but sometimes it's awesome. Like, for me, I've learned, I put on a show, I put on my AirPods, and I just sit back and relax and take care of all the things, right? But it's the same process kind of over and over, and you have to be okay with that. If you're not okay with a repetitive piece, either you're going to have someone else help you with that, or maybe this isn't the business for you. So I want to kind of close things off here. This has been a little bit of a long video, but again, if you have the margin, you're excited about the TCG player world, you love to learn, you have a small amount of liquid capital, and you're willing to be in it for the long haul, then I believe that you should start an online business and that you'll succeed. If you don't, if you ask yourself those 5 questions and you can't say yes to all of them, or at least most of them, you may want to keep considering if this is the right spot for you for a side hustle. It sounds fun, it sounds exciting, it sounds like you can make a good profit, and I agree, I think those things are true, but it's not as easy as it seems. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of hustle, and it takes a lot of grit to be able to make this succeed. So ask yourself those 5 questions. If you ask yourself those questions and you say, yes, I think it's time for me to start an online TCG player business, or whatever platform you use, great, awesome. I'm your cheerleader, I'm in your corner. Feel free to reach out to me with questions. I would love to help you get up and running. All right, you are not competition to me. I think it's awesome when someone else wants to start their own business and succeed. So please reach out to me with questions. Check out my Discord for products if you need some to get started. All right, but I am here for you. Please check me out. Email me if you need to. Again, it's philbillygames@gmail.com. If you have questions, you can find me on Facebook. You can reach out in the Discord, any of those avenues. All right. I'm also going to be continuing to make more videos about different aspects of the business. We're going to talk about details on how I ship, like what does my process look like so that I don't get envelopes back. It minimizes my cost. We're going to talk about what happens when there's problems. We're going to talk about seller levels within TCG Player. I mentioned different marketplaces. I specifically kind of stay within the TCG Player realm, There's some other great ones out there that I've heard, like Manapool. And so, feel free, don't feel like you have to pigeonhole yourself in one platform, but that's what I know, so that's what I'm going to talk about. But continue to follow me. I'm going to continue to produce content to hopefully help you get that business off the ground and running. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. See y'all later.